take a few moments to drop into our mind space or body, feeling our presence within the body. Allowing ourselves to fully arrive, fully inhabiting the body, as it were. Allowing ourselves to feel the vitality within the body, which often goes unnoticed, covered up by random thoughts or a variety of tasks. We can allow ourselves now to drop into the body, into the body's sensations, energy, field, becoming very present. Feeling existence as it radiates and vibrates and resonates within us, because we are existence, extensions of the great all that is, in this particular time-space coordinate, manifesting as ourselves, and feeling our way back to primordial source, to existence, from this state of differentiation and separation, flowing back now into that state of oneness, following our life force to the source, knowing ourselves as those emanations of source energy, pure light and consciousness, one of the beams, one of the many, many multi-dimensional beams of light that radiate from the core of existence itself. And riding on that beam of light, we thusly, through our unique focus, have our unique experience, and yet we are of that same oneness, experiencing multiplicity and multidimensionality and exquisite focus in time and space as we materialize and arrive and crystallize in our unique life experiences. So let us take a few moments to shift our vibrational focus, not so much to what we call the external world, but rather to the existence from which it might appear as if we emanate from, in time-space reality terms. And as a reminder for the technical aspects, to please mute all technology until questions and answers are called for. Good day to ya. We welcome you to the realms of light, where the vast majority of who you are also exists. We welcome you to these realms of light, from where your physical lives, your physical personalities, and your entire physical world also springs. We welcome you to another transmission whereby we will facilitate a connection between your individuated unique focal points within time-space and your higher minds, and continuing on to the very source of existence itself. For as was experienced in the meditation. You are beams of light, metaphorically speaking, emanating from the same source, individuating yourselves through the unique focuses, foci, focal points that you choose to experience. And so we welcome you, such surfers of the light, to this transmission whereby we can have a wondrous co-creation of light, of like-mindedness and like-heartedness. Now, there has been some talk before your session began, before the transmission, about guides. And of course, many of you have a variety of guides, and it is now been becoming apparent in your world, at least in some circles, that your guides can be, of course, non-physical, as traditionally they are thought of. They can also be, in a manner of speaking, other aspects of you experiencing other lives, where guidance is shared back and forth. Perhaps this wouldn't necessarily be called a traditional guide in that sense, but information is constantly ferried back and forth between the various focal points of the Oversoul. Now, some of these exist in what you would say your world, your earth reality. Some exist in other civilizations, in other worlds, in other dimensions. And to the degree that these aspects might appear from your time-space perspective to be more integrated, more whole, they are often clothed in the metaphors and archetypes of guidance, guides, and you interact very often through this mental screen, through this mental projection, shall we say, with these entities, because your physical minds don't always have the, shall we say, vibrational terminology or symbology to represent these beings in their original form. Your physical senses and your physical minds are equipped to deal with the physical reality as you perceive it to be, and to work with the languages and symbology of your worlds and your archetypes. And some of your aspect selves exist in dimensions that are very, shall we playfully use the word, alien to you. Thusly, you will often clothe them in familiar scripts and clothing. And this is why sometimes in your new age you have seemingly a very similar look to the variety of guides that people perceive, because they are perceiving a kind of screen image, a mental image that represents the aspect that they are contacting, but yet is not the aspect itself. They are creating an image out of their own mind stuff and symbology to represent the non-physical or extra-dimensional consciousness as it impinges into your dimension, so to speak. And of course we speak metaphorically as well, because we are also translating ourselves through the channel himself and also through your own mental screens to bring you this information. So this information already comes to you through symbology as a kind of translation, a dimensional translation, into terms that you can understand and relate to as a physically focused consciousness. So there are many translations happening at many, many levels. And this is simply a part of being focused in a specific dimensional experience whereby you have several or a variety of, shall we say, rules and regulations of the plane. Thusly, information coming into that plane would then take on the contours of that plane to be perceived through the senses of that plane and the focus of that plane. So all of that being said, you have many, many connections, multitudinous connections. Now, it is true that for your physically focused lives, you have several, as you call them, guides or aspects, or sometimes aspects of other oversouls that are cross-connecting with you as well, that stay with you, that stick with you for some time. Some for your entire lives and some for certain periods or seasons of your lives, or perhaps as you acquire a certain skill or choose to move in a new direction. So you have many of these, and of course this is well known in your civilization. What is coming into play a little more in the foreground now, and some of you that are on the, as you say, leading edge of consciousness, is that not only are these guiding entities and beings of a non-physical nature, they are also sometimes, as we have said, coming from other civilizations that are also physically or quasi-physically focused. And you can also connect to these, even as you as a human species are preparing yourselves for becoming an interstellar civilization and making contact with beings as you will perceive them in your external world as coming from other civilizations. Leading up to that will be many of you who are already experiencing this, making contact with the inner aspects of yourselves that exist in those very same civilizations. And this is why these questions arise now at this time, because you are ready to let go of some of the old colloquialisms, the old clothing, as it were, that these guides have been wearing for many millennia. And you're ready to perceive them a little more directly, a little more as they might present themselves in their dimensionality, because you're peeling back many filters, many layers. And this is a very, very important, very beautiful time on your planet, when a lot of these filters, as they come off, you begin to see just how much darkness you have placed yourselves within, and what a joyous reunification it is now to move and to spring and to fling yourselves towards the light. For the transformation, as we have spoken, that is on your planet, in play now, is very, very unique. It is very, from your perspectives, very accelerated. Thusly, while you've spent millennia in darkness, you will experience transformation in a relatively short period of time. Thusly, the acceleration, not just the acceleration, but the exhilaration of the acceleration will be and is incredibly rich and profound and very unique in the universe. So you are peeling back these filters. Thusly, what might have in the past been perceived as, shall we just throw out this particular image, guides in long flowing robes, you are going to become very much more specific in terms of being aware of a variety of dimensions and other worlds and civilizations from which these guides come. As we have said, many of them being aspect selves of your oversoul, as well as aspects of other oversouls who are in a kind of a role of developing their skills in a certain way. So we very much welcome this ushering in of a new age of awareness and awakening. And this is the time to take the time to listen to yourselves more deeply, to trust your inner beingness more readily, to act on your passion more fully, and more than anything, to love yourselves as the beings that you are. For often many of you feel as if you are victims of circumstance, that things are happening to you, that you wish certain events would be done, or that certain individuals would no longer be a part of your reality. And yet there you find yourselves experiencing a reality with a mixture of things you do prefer, things you don't prefer. So we invite you to validate all experience as it is, and to understand that if it is happening with a very, very acute and specific purpose and reason, for there are no accidents. Thusly, embracing that which is, as is very well known in your spiritual circles, is a major part of the play of consciousness. And to get there, a less often talked about aspect, as we have been bringing through in the last several sessions, is this idea of fully and lovingly accepting yourself as you are. For that is the seed frequency energy that then radiates out, that enables you to then embrace with love those who are in your life, those that you prefer, those that you don't prefer, those that act in ways you prefer, and those that act in ways that you do not prefer. Because you cannot skip over not loving parts of yourselves and hope to love people out there as they are. For you must first love yourself as you are. And then the reflective mirror, in that reflective mirror, you will have the capacity to love others as they are, regardless of how they are playing themselves out, how they are acting. Because, as you know, circumstances do not matter, only your state of being matters. But to hone your state of being, you must begin with fully loving and integrating yourself. Thusly, the reflection out there will be that of integration, and your actions will flow from a state of integrated self. And you will be able to flow through life regardless of what others are doing, because your happiness does not depend on them. And you will have achieved then the freedom that so many of you seek, and yet find sometimes lacking due to the variety of negative beliefs and filters that are in front of you, that you find yourself ensconced within. Now, as you love and integrate yourselves, so too will that create a harmonic frequency into which you will then begin to perceive these alien aspects of yourself, and they will no longer feel so threatening or so other, because you will have begun to gain a foothold into the mastery of self-love and self-compassion. You will then be able to invite these extra-dimensional and extraterrestrial consciousnesses into your inner being, into your inner space, because you will be operating in an integrative love frequency. And this will greatly accelerate your consciousness in profound ways. And you will be stepping up, as it were, in frequency, so that you can gain an inner vision to a variety of aspects. You will have a sense of I, as you are familiar with, but your sense of I will also expand to include other channels of information, it will seem almost as if, like, shall we say, tunnels into other dimensional experiences. So you will be able to gently withdraw your focus from physical life and be able to perceive a variety of other aspect selves as other gateways or doorways surrounding you, as if you're standing in a spherical room and many portals and doors and windows exist all around you, 360 degrees, and you can shift and change the sphere around to perceive whichever tunnel that you choose, or whichever one is most relevant to give you an expanded sense of self within your current physical life experience. For of course, everything does operate on synchronicity, synchronism, and relevance. Thusly, of course, the aspects that are most relevant to aiding and assisting you in your physical focus of choice at this time will be the ones that are most available, of course. But this will continue to expand. And sometimes, to expand the analogy, you might see spheres within spheres within spheres, whereby you can shift and upstep your frequency to expand to other doorways, other gateways. And you can use whatever metaphor you wish. We have spoken in other transmissions of using the hyperdimensional cube, the tesseract, or any of the other platonic solids, or even a hyperdimensional sphere whereby each point on the sphere represents the gateway, a wormhole, a tunnel to another universe, a parallel universe. So there are many ways to play with this visually and metaphorically. But the main idea is that you are becoming not only an interstellar civilization, but a multi-dimensional civilization, whereby from your unique vantage point, from your unique focal point, you will be able to slide in and out of these various portals and share information with a variety of other aspects of yourself as they exist in a variety of other dimensions and civilizations. And you will have a kind of inner harmonic and peace, whereby all these strands of consciousness can be woven together, and yet your unique strand will not be lost nor annihilated within this grander consciousness. It will, as a matter of fact, stand out even more gloriously. You will always know your golden thread of yourself as your unique focus, and yet you will find that golden thread of consciousness of you as woven through these other strands of consciousness. And you will each not take anything away from each other, rather you will greatly add, multiply, exponentially increase the value as you share unique vantage points and perspectives, thusly only increasing the uniqueness of the being and the focus that you are by having exposure to these other aspects and windows into other civilizations. Now, as this alchemy occurs internally, so too will then your civilization externally, as you say, begin to experience beings from other dimensions and other civilizations, extra-dimensionals, extraterrestrials, but this will be but a reflection of the alchemy that you are allowing to take place within yourselves through the weaving of these strands of consciousness, through the openings to these hyperdimensional fields of consciousness that exist within you. And always greatly will it enhance your unique focus, not annihilate it. Now, your current physical focus would be afraid very much of annihilation, would be afraid of getting lost in the sea of consciousness, which is infinite. Thusly, it guards against it, it puts up walls against it. And even your own personalities themselves are fragmented. And so coming back to your current state of affairs, as you experience it now in your world, you see that even the focus, the physical focus itself is fragmented in many, many ways. That's your first, we'll speak somewhat humorously now, your first mission, should you choose to accept it, is to integrate the physically focused aspects of your personality selves by bringing in the love frequency and embracing all of those parts into a wholeness. Because you cannot achieve multidimensional harmonic awareness until you achieve terrestrial dimensional harmonic awareness within your personality itself, because this is the microcosm. And once your personality integrates, once you bring love to those parts that act out, once you love and embrace the angry parts, the hateful parts, the resentful parts, the victimized parts of your own personalities, so too will your external world reflect that same love and goodwill to your neighbor. As the old saying goes, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, you must first love yourself. And then the reflective mirror will show you love for your neighbor. And indeed, your neighbors will expand not only from your community, your friends, and expanding outward, of course, through all the concentric circles, all the way to world consciousness, but also to other world consciousness. And thusly, this will be quite a pivotal moment whereby you go from a planetary civilization to an interstellar civilization. So many exciting doorways and portals are there for you to walk through. And we are very excited along with you. Thus, we encourage you to do the play, the work, the intention of loving yourselves fully, for that is the gateway. towards this extra dimensional consciousness, which cannot be experienced in any other way than through the love frequency. That is the doorway, that is the portal. So love yourselves as you are. And yes, even those really, really dark and hurt parts, love them too. Love them especially because they are the ones that need love the most. And that is the ticket to ride on this train to higher dimensional and extra dimensional consciousness. Love frequency is what enables you to step through the door. So all aboard, and it will be a glorious ride. And what a ride it is indeed shaping up to be. So now, having thusly delivered that information, we will ask if there are any questions out there, and of course, please remember to unmute your technology and remute after you finish your question.
Hello, Illi.
Good day.
I hope you are doing well.
Always.
Great. I have a question regarding what I found out recently. During previous transmissions, you didn't sense any connection of me to Sassani's. By the way, I still do not feel, let's say, any, let's say, visible or how to say close connection to your civilization as well, beside listening frequently to Bashar's and Rayo's transmissions. But I found out in one-on-one channeling session with an angelic being that one of my guides is from Sassani, and that being even gave a name, Sharak. So maybe you can give me some information from him, or how to, let's say, get some hints from him, and maybe even he has a message for me. Thank you.
Very good. Now, many of you that are interested in such things have many aspects in these civilizations, for the urging towards wanting more information itself is already an indication that you have aspects in a variety of civilizations, for you would not be asking the question if you didn't already have some inkling of an answer, of a connection within you. You would simply be focused in another way. And many of you are increasing your ability to remember or to be aware of these connections, of course, as has been stated in the transmission. Thusly, if you already feel a particular affinity to a certain teaching or certain channeled information, there is already a good indicator that something about that feels like home, shall we say, to put it in colloquial language, and that longing for home away from home, shall we say, is a very powerful indicator, so trust that. Now, there are many ways to connect. Of course, you know, if you're connecting with Sassani beings, it goes without saying to use the Sassani formula. And so let that passion that flows through you ignite that connection by acting on it and grounding it into your world, and thusly creating a circuit between your civilization and the Sassani civilization. Now, of course, a telepathic civilization does not use names, so any names that might be given would be given for your benefit or as a kind of symbol to anchor in a vibration, to give you a permission slip, a gateway to connect to a certain vibration or frequency, and that is all well and good. We sense possibilities of drawing, sketching this being as a potential portal for you to draw a deeper connection. You, of course, know that channeling a variety of arts, such as your music, also increases your frequency. However, that is the information that is available at this time. More will be given in dreams, because many of you already have contacts, experiences in your dream times you're simply not yet remembering. So you must raise your frequency of your physical focus so that it can begin to remember that which is already occurring, because of course everything is here and now. So not very specific information, but perhaps something in there will provide the trigger for you to create more of this link and bridge and connection.
Thank you very much, Illi. Yes, I'm also looking forward to those dreams, dream encounters that I will remember. Also, my second and last thing, I'd like to share with you some information. I just had my first, so to speak, channeling lesson, because to channel, first of all, my Yael counterpart, Lily, is my height excitement. And I had my guided meditation with Pleiadians, and yeah, seems like my higher self came to front and started to bring information after questions were asked. Yeah, that was my very first time. It felt very unusual. I was clearly feeling sort of on the whole skin of my body. That were not goosebumps. That was electricity. And when I was deeper and deeper while answering questions, I was trying to relax to the maximum, to let the information flow. And I was feeling myself a bit like floating above my bed where I was laying. Yeah, just sharing that interesting information with you, and I will whenever I can, of course.
So first of all, we will say congratulations for taking a step forward. For each time you take a step, you ground the frequency of that which you are acting on, crystallizing it in your world. Thus, we encourage you to continue acting in this direction, and it can aid and assist not only in you connecting to your counterpart in the Yael civilization, but also in the Sassani civilizations as well. You can also, if it sparks your fancy, use the exercise of looking in the mirror into your eyes in a fairly dimly lit area, not bright daylight, at least in the beginning, looking into your eyes and beginning to gently imagine, using your imagination, as if on the other side of that mirror is the counterpart whom you wish to contact, staring back at you, lovingly. And just rest your eyes there. Do not focus too intently, but rather do this gaze in a very relaxed manner. But gently, at the same time, using your imagination to imagine, simply with the frequency of curiosity rather than attempting to manipulate or create something. With a curiosity, what would it be like to actually be looking at a Sassani being in the mirror as you look at yourself? And you might find at some point that you begin to use the imagination as a kind of pivot into a little bit more vivid images. You might start perceiving a background behind you that is other than the one that is in your world, because the mirror is a very powerful portal. And this is one exercise that can be effective if it sparks your fancy. This is not something you would by any means force yourself to do. This is not a should do, but rather if you feel inspired, this is a pathway using the mirrors. Another one, when you meditate or when you lay in your reclining position, you can also imagine what it might be like to be in the skin of such a being, and begin to use your curiosity again and your imagination to imagine what would it be like to live in the body of such a being. And thus you invite, through your curiosity, a kind of doorway that may help aid and assist information to come in. Now, as we have said, remember your physical minds are as yet very wary of this kind of extra dimensional information. Your, as you colloquially say, ego consciousness might be rather scandalized by such information because it has been trained in unipolar focus. Of course, as we have said, your consciousness, your physical personality itself is made of many parts, but you've been trained to believe that your physical mind is a singular focus, and thusly there are a lot of negative beliefs and fear about multi-point focal consciousness. Thusly, this can, as you colloquially say, freak out your mind a little bit. So do not be surprised if you get an inkling or a brief glimpse of another world and you snap right back into a rigid physical focus, because the physical mind might as yet not be fully ready. But trust us when we say that each time you get a little bit of a glimpse, and even if the mind snaps back ferociously into physical focus out of fear, it has made contact. And this is important, because whether it takes 1 time or 10 times or 100 times of running away, it will eventually realize that there is nothing to be afraid of. And thusly it will risk a little bit, from its perspective, a little bit more information. So constantly let your curiosity guide you. And let it be, of course, no insistence on an outcome. You might do these exercises and get seemingly nothing. But you might then have a profound dream experience, revealing more of this information to you because you have been knocking on the door, and thusly it will be revealed to you through the path of least resistance. Often this will be in your dream time. So do not look for immediate results, shall we say, nor insist on any particular result to happen in any particular way, because it will happen through the path of least resistance, and sometimes the higher mind will employ what we like to say the trickster energy to go around your negative beliefs and, in a manner of speaking, lovingly trick you into higher dimensional consciousness. So you might be, for example, walking in the woods somewhere and you touch a tree and all of a sudden a memory will flash before your eyes. So it might come to you unexpected and in a place where your mind is unusually relaxed. And then a portal will open, information will come in. So don't harass it in any way. Let it come in its own time, and trust the timing as well. Because you might engage in these exercises now and you might not get something until a couple months later, and that is fine too. Now we are only saying that so that you don't look for immediate results and, in a manner of speaking, slow down the process by checking and keeping score and beating yourself up for it going too slowly, or perhaps missing the information as it comes through other channels and in other ways. So these are 2 exercises you can play with: the mirror exercise, and then also the exercise of what would it be like to inhabit the body of this type of being. Of course, we've also spoken of sketching. That's another way. You have many artistic representations already in your world. So you can begin something as simple as sketching something that has already been brought through, or allowing yourself the free rein to imagine and sketch purely from your own imagination. This will all aid and assist you in opening those gateways. And notice the frequency of curiosity is the frequency that opens these gateways, doorways. So hopefully that is the information that will aid and assist you.
Yes, Illi, I'm very thankful to you for these techniques. I will definitely try all of them. So thank you very much. That's all from me.
Very good. Then let us take a few moments to be here, to feel our existence, and to realize that you are the multidimensional beings that you seek. You are the love that you seek. You are all that you seek. It is all within. And everything that you consider to be out there is but a reflection of the in here. You are infinite eternal beings. There is no rush. There is no need to hurry. You are where you are because you chose this particular unique focus. Thusly you relish it, and paradoxically that is how you transform through it. For when you resist it, you slow yourself down. Resistance is slowing down. Resistance is pain. Resistance keeps you where you are. So why resist what is? Embrace it, love it. And remember, you cannot love the external world without loving yourself first. And love, therefore, the part that resists. Otherwise, you will fall into that insidious trap of the negative beliefs, whereby you perpetuate and resist the resistance. And then you resist the resistance for resisting. And then you get all tied up in a knot and wonder why you're still in the same place. So, love the resistance. This might come as a bit of a shock to some of you, but that is the way. As you say humorously in your world these days, this is the way. Love yourself, love that part that hurts, love that part that resists, love that part that is angry. Those are the parts that need your love the most. Ride that love frequency to integration and to multi-dimensional and interstellar connectivity. For you are multi-dimensional and interstellar beings. You have simply to realize this through self-love. Because all there is the self after all. So be with the self. And be in love of the self. And experience that. For the more parts you can love, the more parts will reveal themselves. And the more parts will be perceived as the whole. For you are whole beings experiencing yourselves as parts. So may those fragments vibrate themselves together. May everyone vibrate the harmonic of love, being on the mend. Now with those words and with whatever blessings are ours to give, we will give those blessings. And we encourage you to give those blessings to yourselves and to love yourselves into integration. Thusly, with this transmission, we will close by wishing you a very loving, beautiful, and of course, always a fond good day. Well, all right. That was fun.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, definitely.
I was a bit surprised
Yes.
today. Yeah, I'm thankful.
Good.
I think I will use that.
Awesome. Yeah, it seemed like there was nothing, and then all of a sudden, I noticed that it's like when you make certain statements, all of a sudden a door pops open, and then all this information comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how it can just seem like, oh, there's nothing here, and then it's like you'll say something, and something within you shifts, and then a doorway opens, and it's like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, it was very interesting. I got a lot out of it.
Cool. There was something about
So did Squeaky. He got a lot out of it too.
Oh, nice.
In touch with his higher self.
Nice. I was really getting a lot of visuals during the hyperdimensional objects part. So Jeff, I kind of pictured you might have liked that part. So let's sign off. I will see you all out there. Pleasant dreams.
Next time, next Bat channel.
Yeah, right. All right.
So, thank you.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
All right, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, bro. Goodbye.